Join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Linda, can we have the roll call?
Kiefhofer,
Here.
DeHaven,
Here.
Brule,
Here.
Dobry,
Here.
Randall,
Here.
Lewis,
Here.
Medina.
Here. We have a quorum tonight. Then moving on, do we have the approval of the agenda as presented, or?
I move that council approve the agenda for October 8th, 2024.
Second.
Motion made by DeHaven and seconded by Lewis.
Sprule, Randall, Lewis,
Aye.
DeHaven,
Aye.
Kiefhofer,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Medina.
Aye. All right, we're moving on to number 2 on our agenda, the consent agenda. The listing under consent agenda is a group of items to be acted on with a single motion and vote. This agenda is designed to expedite the handling of limited routine matters by City Council. Either the public or a council member may request that an item may be removed from the consent agenda at the time prior to council's vote. After reading the consent agenda, I will ask if a citizen or council member wishes to have any specific item removed from the consent agenda for discussion. A, approval of the expenditure list for October 8th, 2024. B, approval of a renewal application for a tavern liquor license for Cortez Veterans, Inc., located at 320 North Harrison, Cortez. And C, approval of a renewal hotel and restaurant liquor license for El Campestre Mexican Restaurant LLC, DBA El Campestre Mexican Restaurant, located at 1430 East Main Street, Suite 6, Cortez. Would anyone like an item to be removed from the agenda for discussion, or do we have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move that council approve the consent agenda as presented. Second.
Motion made by Lewis and seconded by Dobry.
Lewis,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Kiefhofer,
Aye.
Randall, DeHaven,
Aye.
Brule,
Yes.
Medina.
Aye. All right, we're moving on to number 3 on our agenda, public participation. There's no limit to the number of speakers, although public comment will be held to an overall time limit of 30 minutes. Speakers have a time limit of 3 minutes per person, may only speak once, and may not cede time to another commenter. Thank you, Linda. Okay. All right, I'd like to invite Susan to the podium. All right, and the microphone should be on.
Thank you, it is.
Great.
Susan Chemnitz, 511 South Cedar Street. I want to commend council members Randall, Sprule, and Dobry for their support of citizens' rights in their stand to opt out of Senator Bill 24-131. The remainder of my comments are directed to council members Lewis, Kiefhofer, DeHaven, and Mayor Medina. In an attempt to keep the general public from filling the chambers and having a say about this decision, you pushed this through on first reading, even though the majority of the citizens who spoke before the ordinance was introduced were in favor of the opt-out. You didn't consider the will of the people you represent. You voted on your opinions, and you violated your oath of office. You are now subject to recall. By your actions, you have now put a big fat target on Chief Knuckles' back or any officer of the court that substitutes for him. It's disturbing that the only lives you seem worried about are the council and city manager. What about the city attorney, the clerk, and the citizens that would be in the chamber? You must feel you're doing something wrong and you fear retaliation. But what you are blind to is that you just supported banning arms from the very people who would defend you in the case of an attack. People who carry legally take guns seriously, safely, and practice all the time. Most importantly, they don't settle differences with guns. Only mentally ill people do that. And gun-free zones don't mean anything to them except no one will be firing back at them. But here's the kicker. There is nothing in the Constitution that says the right of the people to bear arms can be infringed upon in sensitive spaces. And such Senator Bill 24-131 in your supporting ordinance are unconstitutional. Article 6 of the Constitution states, "This Constitution laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, and judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. Therefore, any citizen obstructed by your ordinance can sue and will win. The Constitution that you swore an oath on to uphold trumps all other laws." Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. All right, this was the only comment card we have, so we'll close public comments, public participation section, and move on to number 4 on our agenda, presentations. 4A is the 2024 August financial statements, presented by Kelly Koski, our finance director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In your packets this evening are the financial statements for August, and there were 3 items to note this time. One of them deals with the outdoor pool, which is identified in the financial statements as aquatics. There was a capital outlay account that was charged for the boiler replacement at the outdoor pool. That's not an item that is going to be capitalized or depreciated, so it really should have been charged originally to repairs and maintenance. We'll be making that change and correction in the September financial statements. Also, you notice in the street improvement fund, their capital projects have only spent 38.2% of the budget as of August. This is due to some late starting projects and Public Works reports that those projects should be completed by year end. Then also over in the water fund, their capital projects have only spent 39.5% of their annual budget as of August. Public Works reports that that has to do with the replacement of the treatment clarifier, which will begin later in the year. That will also carry into the beginning of 2025, and phase 2 of that project is in the 2025 budget. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Do we have to make an amendment as a council for that first one, just being charged to the wrong code, or is that just something you fix?
No, it's just something that we'll need to fix with the journal entry. The budget amount was correct. Over in repairs and replacement, the charge just went to the incorrect account number.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Kelly. All right, we're going to move on to number 5 on our agenda, public hearings. We have none tonight. Number 6 is unfinished business. We have none as well, so we'll move on to 7 on our agenda, new business. 7A is an acceptance of proposal for housing coordinator contract position, presented by Rachel Marchbanks, our Community and Economic Development Director.
Greetings, Mayor and Council. Just to give you a little background on this proposal. In 2023, the city did a housing needs assessment, and it found that Cortez needs a lot of housing. The population has increased faster than its housing supply, with a limited inventory of for sale homes and a rental vacancy rate of under 2%. Competition is driving up prices. From 2020 to 2022, housing prices in Montezuma County increased by 15.7%, which is more than 3 times the annual increase from the previous decade. So it's really grown a lot in the last few years as far as costs go. This has resulted in very few affordable housing options for locals and affects employers' ability to recruit and retain workers. To help address those issues, the city adopted a housing action plan in August of 2023 and is currently rewriting its land use code in part to help remove some barriers to housing development. Cortez has also opted in to Proposition 123, the Colorado Affordable Housing Fund, to allow state support for construction of affordable and workforce housing units, and that would allow basically any entity that qualifies that wants to build affordable and workforce housing units in Cortez to apply for some funding. The city of Cortez also committed to increasing the overall affordable housing units by 89 units. That was part of the Prop 123 opt-in, and that includes rental or for sale by the end of 2026. While the city of Cortez does not intend to act as a developer on these units, staff or contractor time will need to be allocated to assist affordable housing developers in the city that are with the city planning processes and procedures, as well as connecting them with other resources. So in March, the city of Cortez was awarded a $133,000 approximately local planning capacity grant offered through the Colorado Department of Local Affairs. The program supports a local government's planning capacity to fast track or expedite development review, permitting, or zoning of affordable housing, and increasing local government planning department capacity to help impact the number of units built. While the city has shown its commitment to facilitating and increasing the affordable housing production, its resources and current staff capacity are greatly limited. Through this LPC grant, the city intends to hire an independent contractor who will help implement the council-adopted Housing Action Plan, support its Proposition 123 commitment, and serve as a liaison between the city, developers, landowners, and the public. The city of Cortez, actually, so we had 2 rounds. We had advertised an RFP back in June of 2024, and we received 3 proposals, and we ended up interviewing 2, and then we did not find a qualified applicant out of that process. So we did some soul searching and decided to re-advertise the RFP. The first time around, we had put it out as a press release and gotten some great coverage. In fact, it was even on KOA radio in Denver right before the 4th of July. But regardless, we didn't find applicants that had the kind of experience and qualifications that we were looking for. So we decided to re-advertise, and we also posted, even though it was a request for proposals, we posted it on job boards as well to help direct people that might be looking for a position and not realize that that was out there. And we did receive, we received 3 proposals. One was a repeat from the prior round, and we had decided that one didn't qualify. And then we received 2 others. Both of them were very good proposals with some highly qualified applicants. So we were actually really excited. We interviewed both applicants. One of them lived in Salida and had some great education and experience, but they weren't that available to come and spend a whole lot of time here locally, so it would have been mostly remote, and they were asking for twice as much money per hour. So we also had another applicant who is, I included that proposal in front of you guys now, that is a former executive director of Homes Fund in Durango, has lots of housing experience and education, and would be able to really hit the ground running. And then the other benefit is that they are, within driving distance and plan to come here and be in the office for quite a lot of the time. So we were really pleased to have both of those proposals. The one that we are recommending to council, the cost is half as much to the city, and it's a highly qualified applicant that has, local experience, and yeah. Let me see if I have anything else here that I left out. I think that's it. But if you have any questions for me, I'm ready.
Yeah, so it said she'd be here 3 days a week, plus some hours, like coming to our council meetings or anything outside of work or work hours. Do we have office space, or where are they going to work from?
That's a really good question, because in our department we are, hoping to add a city planner and also hoping to add a code enforcement person. So that's something that we're going to have an internal discussion about. Luckily, it's a consultant, and so they bring their own tools and are pretty portable. I mean, my office is big. I could certainly share that. We have some meeting rooms that aren't in use all the time. So, and we're happy to find space for this person, because I think it's really important that they are here and able to interact with staff and the public and kind of learn our culture here at the city.
I have a couple of questions or I'd like some feedback from you if I could.
Okay.
The cost of this contract at $75 an hour seems a bit high to me. Maybe I'm naive. I'm not quite sure on this. And I heard your statement that the other applicants were, or one of the other applicants that you were considering significantly was at a much higher cost. So given that, when I look at the duties that this person is going to have, being a liaison, seems to be the core of this position, is a liaison, because with our land use code revision, we've sort of gone back through it, and as much as we can, based on other recommendations, that's being changed, and those are being implemented now. So it's kind of I'm kind of reading this as being a liaison person, and maybe a put together kind of like a broker, sort of. I mean. That's,
yeah, not totally. That is certainly an important part of it. Also, we are looking at, the 7th Street property that we have, and moving forward with putting out a potential RFQ and doing a lot of public outreach. Also, looking into other programs that could help, as part of the Housing Action Plan, help renovate some of the housing stock that we already have. So it would also include seeking grants, seeking funding, helping developers, maybe connecting them, and that would be part of the liaison role, is connecting them with some funding. Also, looking at our internal process and policies regarding when an application comes to the city, how long it takes for the city to process that application, how long it takes it to go through our process. And there are some good just recommendations in general, and how to fast track such developments a little bit quicker, because developers are, they're dependent on bank loans and financing. And if it takes 6 months for something to go through, they could lose their financing deal. So it's also looking at some of our internal policies and procedures and making recommendations on how we can fix those. Just really, right now, as far as the capacity, it's myself and our deputy, Helen, who's working on this, and we are absolutely slammed. And so we do need someone that can come, lighten the load, that has experience in housing, knows the language, knows about different financing methods, deed restrictions, some other ways that the city can help, implement or move the needle forward as far as building housing, more housing in the city. So, yeah. Does that help answer?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's good. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I have one thing?
Yeah.
I also want to just add one thing. So as you know, Prop 123, in some ways the state is building the airplane as we fly it for this affordable housing thing. So we don't understand how compliance is going to work. This person would also be setting up a system of how we can track affordable housing develop, how we can track what we're doing going forward so that we can remain compliant, which is a huge job in and of itself. So while a liaison is certainly an important part of it, it's not the only thing. It's probably one of the less technical things that they'll be asked to do. A very important thing, helping our developers and our nonprofits and our local people find these grants is super important. But in a lot of ways, that will be easier than some of that other kind of technical compliance issues.
So that compliance part is, that's a very good point. Thanks for bringing that up. Will that be included in her contract? It's not in there now.
Oh, we can include it. It's kind of a, like the scope of work is a little fluid as far as what the city needs. And, okay. That makes sense, yeah.
Councilmember, I would let you know that the contract that you're looking at is the sample contract that I believe went out with the RFP. The actual contract with this specific contractor will be negotiated and drafted by the city and through the city manager. So we certainly can add additional provisions, and that's one that I'm sure Ms. Marchbanks will consider.
Well, I think it's great that you found such a qualified local person that can be here physically and understands the area. So that's really exciting. I don't see any other comments, so I'd like to move that council authorize City Manager Drew Sanders to negotiate and sign a contract with Lisa Bloomquist Consulting Service LLC to serve in the position of Affordable and Workforce Housing Coordinator for the City of Cortez as an independent contractor for an amount not to exceed $166,400.
Second.
Motion made by DeHaven and seconded by Kiefhoffer.
Dobry,
Aye.
DeHaven,
Aye.
Aye.
Brule,
Yes.
Randall, Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Medina.
Aye. All right, we're moving on to 7B on our agenda, consideration of authorization of a grant application and the selection of a consultant for EPA brownfield grant writing and cleanup services. Presented by Helen West, the Community and Economic Development Specialist.
Greetings, Mayor and Council. So I'm here to ask for you to authorize us to contract with Stantec Consulting Services, Inc. For grant writing services and ultimately grant cleanup services if we are awarded this EPA grant. Just a little bit of background, and the reason I'm coming to you for this is EPA brownfield cleanup grants are highly technical grants, so there's going to need to be a lot of technical development of documents that ultimately go into the grant process. This is not our grant application. This is not just simply a grant. So I'll read a little bit of this memo, which is also available to all of you or anyone at home watching online. So in 2022, the city of Cortez, along with 3 other municipalities, were selected as participants in the Colorado Department of Health and Environment statewide assessment grant for brownfields. This is also a grant through the EPA. And with this, the local property owners, including commercial property owners, would qualify for free environmental assessments and redevelopment planning documents. The city of Cortez has conducted 6 Phase 1 environmental assessments, 3 Phase 2, and 5 regulated building materials surveys. Oftentimes we think of asbestos as one of the well-known regulated building materials, so that's that kind of survey. Through these assessments, contamination was identified at the Cortez Municipal Airport, and cleanup activities for 2 buildings, the former Hertz rental car building and the maintenance hangar building, were recommended, and soil around these buildings was recommended. There is no threat to human health or safety. Just want to reiterate that even though contamination was found, similar to if you have asbestos in your home, if you don't move it around, if you don't move it around, it's okay. So this is non-threatening to human life. All cleanup activities are voluntary, and as a local government, and importantly, because the contaminated buildings were not originally constructed by the city, and the contamination was not, the city did not do the contamination, we can apply for cleanup grants, so we don't have to pay for that. In September, the staff put out a request for qualifications and proposals for an environmental service provider to assist in the preparation of the grant application for the 2025 EPA Brownfield Cleanup Program. And subsequently, whoever we choose would be awarded the cleanup activities at the end, if the EPA gives us the grant. Again, the reason for this, there are some very technical assessments that are required as part of the grant application, including an analysis of brownfield cleanup activities, which basically means a consultant has to look at 3 different ways of cleaning up the site and how much each of those ways would cost, which in itself is a lot. We also need site-specific safety plans and quality of assurance plans for all data, samples, etc. So we believe that working with an experienced consultant, especially on these technical kind of documents, would be critical in a successful application. Also, just to give you an idea, the Brownfield Cleanup Grant has several different levels. There's a $500,000 cleanup level, and then it jumps to $1 million, $2 million. We plan to apply for a $500,000 cleanup grant, and it is fast approaching. The due date is November 14th, so we have to move quickly. So we received 2 proposals for grant writing services and environmental cleanup services, one from Souter Miller and Associates and one from Stantec Consulting Services, Inc. Stantec has extensive experience working in Colorado and the Four Corners region, and frankly across the world. They have an impressive track record of winning or helping cities and other local municipalities win EPA grants. And they have experience working in this area of Colorado. In fact, they are who are working with the CDPHE on the current grant that we are a part of. Souter Miller and Associates is a local company with extensive environmental experience in the Four Corners region, and has worked specifically with the state of New Mexico on multiple environmental projects, including some EPA cleanup grants, as I understand. They have a proven track record of prioritizing health and safety. Their proposal for grant writing services was $47,560. I said that wrong, $47,560. The cost of cleanup cannot be determined yet because they have to kind of do those analyses of brownfield cleanup and actually apply for the grant. Stantec is offering to write this grant for free, and as long as we award them the cleanup activities if we are awarded the grant. We have not budgeted for grant writing services for this fiscal year, importantly, and we would not really be able to move forward with a proposal that includes a large amount for grant writing services.
All right, any questions for economic development?
Madam Mayor, I move that City Council authorize the city manager to negotiate and sign a contract with Stantec Consulting Services Incorporated for grant writing and cleanup activities under the 2025 EPA Brownfield Cleanup Grant Program and authorize staff to complete and apply for a $500,000 Brownfield Cleanup Grant from the EPA.
Second.
Motion made by Lewis and seconded by Dobry.
Dobry,
Aye.
Randall, Lewis,
Aye.
Rule. Yes. Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Haven,
Aye.
Medina.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, council.
All right, we're going to move on to C on our agenda. Federal grant agreement for the Aviation Administration Airport Improvement Grant for the parking lot terminal access road rehabilitation, presented by Jeremy Patton, our airport director.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. So the next two items on the agenda are a little bit of housekeeping items. I'm asking council to confirm the mayor's authorization of the assigned federal grant award, or the agreement, which was digitally signed by the mayor and city attorney on the 30th of July of this year and the 31st of July, respectively. Signatures were affixed to the grant agreement prior to formal vote by city council approving this agreement and authorizing the mayor to sign it. I just lost sorry about this. There's no fiscal impact in this. We've already got these grant agreements in place. For this particular one, this is for the parking lot, the federal piece of the parking lot that was constructed. So all we're doing is asking to authorize that previous signature. So the recommendation would be that staff recommend to council the approval of this grant agreement, and a motion to repeat that would be that I move city council approve the federal grant agreement listed here is AIP Project 39 of 2024, and confirm the authority of the mayor to sign the agreement. Any questions?
So I saw a DocuSign email come to my email asking for my signature, and I didn't look close enough, and I thought it was something we had already approved, so I went ahead and signed it. So I apologize to council.
Any other comments?
Did I do this twice? Is that why there's two on the agenda?
Yeah, we have two on here. So we're just going back, and that was before I could catch it. And so now we're in the middle of the projects, and
Sorry.
we just need to make sure that we don't do that again,
Okay.
essentially.
I move that council approve the Federal Aviation Grant Agreement 3-08-001-309, -039-2024, and confirm the authority of the mayor and city attorney to sign that agreement.
Second.
Motion made by Dobry and seconded by Lewis.
Lewis,
Aye.
Haven,
Aye.
Randall, Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Rule,
Yes.
Medina.
Aye. All right, and D is the same thing except for the apron. The first one was for the parking lot, and this is for the apron expansion.
Correct. So this item is the apron expansion design grant that we are also we're pretty much done designing. We're through that phase of this project. Next year will be construction. There'll be a separate grant for that, for AIP funds. So essentially the same thing, just the timelines were a little different. This was actually signed in August of 2023 by the mayor, and then the 21st of August 2023 by the city attorney, through again DocuSign, and it was not caught at that time. The FAA processed it. Obviously, we have the funds, not a huge deal. We just need to authorize the mayor's signature of that agreement, and moving forward, we do not have anything signed without the entire council involved. So I move that council approve the federal grant agreement. Again, AIP numbers in that sequence is 38-2023. Confirm the authority of the mayor to sign that agreement.
I move that council approve the Federal Aviation Grant Agreement 3-08-0011-038-2023 and confirm the authority of the mayor to sign the agreement.
Motion made by DeHaven and seconded by Randall.
DeHaven,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Randall, Lewis,
Aye.
Rule,
Yes.
Medina.
Aye. All right, thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, council.
All right, we're going to move on to 7E on our agenda, an executive session.
I move that council go into executive session for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and/or instructing negotiators concerning the possible sale of real property owned by the city at the northwest corner of North Mildred Road and East Empire Street pursuant to CRS Section 24-6-4024E, and to discuss the possible sale of real property by the city pursuant to CRS Section 24-6-4024A.
Second.
Motion made by Dobry and seconded by Lewis.
Spruill,
Yes.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
DeHaven,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Randall, Lewis,
Aye.
Medina.
Aye. All right, we'll be back. All right, it is still October 8th, 2024, and the time is 8:23 p.m. The executive session has concluded and council has reconvened into open session. Those persons participating in the executive session were myself, Mayor Rachel Medina, Mayor Pro Tem Lydia DeHaven, and Councilmember also participating were City Manager Drew Sanders and City Attorney Patrick Coleman. No adoption of any proposed policy, position, resolution, rule, regulation, or formal action occurred during the executive session. If any member of council or a member of the public believes that the subject matter of the executive session was not statutorily authorized or that the discussions that occurred in executive session strayed from the announced subject matter, please speak up now. Seeing none, we will move on to the next agenda item. So next on our agenda is 7F, contract to sell city-owned real estate, presented by Drew Sanders, City Manager.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and Council. You have before you a contract to buy and sell real estate. The city some months ago put the property located at the northwest corner of Mildred and Empire Streets for sale. The amount that was asked for that was $365,000. We have received an offer to buy that property in the amount of $365,000, so a full purchase price offer. Originally, and this was again some months ago, the offer was received from Peyton Savage LLC, which is on the agenda, and that was the accurate information at the time. I was informed literally this morning that this same group, and now it's the same group of buyers that have got together, have formed a new LLC for specific to this project entitled Empire Enterprises LLC. So same group, just replacing Peyton Savage with Empire Enterprises LLC. Also, this has been an extremely complicated land deal in that that intersection is one of the four corners that is owned by the city of Cortez. We have acquired all four corners of that intersection in the hopes of being able to improve that intersection sometime in the future. Because of that, we have had to get a survey done on this and retain enough property for us to be able to accomplish that. And we have not yet got the survey back and the accurate property description. However, it is agreeable to both parties, and also we have vetted it with our city attorney and Colorado Title to use the old property description and quote-unquote to be determined by survey. And that will be updated and corrected before we go to closing on this. With that being said, the city would like to recommend to the council that you accept this offer. We happen to know now, based upon some documents provided to us, that the group that is buying this is actually Mountain Range Fitness, which is currently located on the far east side of Empire Street, Underwood Eye Care, Cortez Dental, and Mountain Range Wellness. And this document is basically a letter of intent, and it is signed by Jared Wyatt, Colette Wyatt, Tyler Underwood, and I believe it's Kevin Shade, and Lauren Smith. Also, Mayor, I do believe that Dr. Underwood is here to speak to this. It was a pleasure to the council to hear him.
All right, would you like to speak at the podium, Mr. Underwood? Sure. And the microphone should be on for you.
It is, okay. So hi, I'm Tyler Underwood. I'm an optometrist here in Cortez. And so our goal for this is to create a wellness campus. We want to put together a building or multiple buildings on this lot that we can have dedicated to health and wellness. So there's going to be optometry, that'll be us, Underwood Eye Care. We've been here for 70 years, and we want to continue to grow and expand. If any of you have been to our practice, we need more space and we need more room. And so we are planning to expand Cortez Dental. We want to add a dentist to the group. And then the Mountain Range Fitness would like to add a gym, a really large gym, and we would like to include physical therapy, anything that has to do with wellness, even possibly ophthalmology. I have connections to them as well. So anything that has to do with this property is going to be wellness and health for the community. Everyone in this group is local. We've been here, we're going to be here, we're not leaving. I mean, at least I'm not, I'll be here. And so what we've come together, we have a new entity that was specifically for this location. So Empire Enterprises, basically we're fully committed to this. So if you have any questions for me, I'm willing to answer, and but that's the big picture. Is we want to bring something new and big and modern to the community, and for my patients and for future patients.
Great.
That's
Thank
the
you.
goal.
All right, any questions for Tyler?
I don't have a question, just a comment. I think this location is ideal with a hospital right down the road, being right on a corner. I'm really excited to see that we have businesses that have collaborated and are working together to make this happen. And we've got businesses that are well established in the community. So I feel pretty confident this is going to be pretty successful. So I commend you on your activities.
Thank you.
Well, and being one of your patients, your parking lot is terrible, so I'm excited for you.
Yeah, this location is big enough that we can. We'd like to have we're going to get an architect, and we'd like to have like a center campus where there's like a garden, and this side is one thing and this side's the other. But we have big plans and big dreams for this location, which I think will really improve the community in a very large way. So I think it'll be pretty spectacular. We want it to be modern, and we know that Osprey is right there close, and we want to kind of emulate that and have this to be a really cool space. So.
If this all moves through, do you have like kind of a timeline or phases?
Well, we've knew that this was coming for sale, and so we kind of got together, and it's been going really quick. We want to be able to get the property, and then the timeline would be sooner the better, but I don't have a timeline exactly. It would be in the next few years probably before we could get it going, but I've outgrown my space, and all the owners are renting now, so we all want to have our own space that we can grow our businesses.
Great. All right, well, thanks for
Thank you.
talking to us and being here tonight. All right. Do we have a motion? Discussion. Or do you guys have any?
I would just like to make a comment before we have a motion. I am very excited about this. I think this is a win-win for everyone, the community, the businesses, and I am so thrilled that you would be able to come up with the vision for Cortez and yourself and do this. I'm ecstatic. I think it's fantastic. I think it's one of the best things that's happened in a long time, and Cortez needs to start growing at a pace that it's capable of growing, and this is one great big step to help us do that.
Well, the other thing I just wanted to mention is that as part of that growth, I do think it's important to mention that the city is retaining the flexibility and ability to further develop that intersection in the future. So that it's great to see businesses that are willing to invest in our community and are clearly here for the long term. So that's great to hear.
Yeah, I also just want to mention, I think this is property to sell. We've gotten it appraised, and we've got a full, we have an offer for our asking price. So I think it's fiscally responsible for the city and council to make this decision.
I move the council authorize the mayor to sign a contract with Empire Enterprises LLC to sell the property located at the northwest corner of North Mildred Road and East Empire Street for $365,000.
Second.
Motion made by Spruill and seconded by Dobry.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Spruill,
Yes.
Dobry,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
DeHaven,
Aye.
Randall, Medina.
Aye. All right. We'll move on our agenda. 8 is draft resolutions, ordinances. We have none. So 9 on our agenda, city attorney report.
No report, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Oh, and I didn't open the previous thing for public comment because there's no public in our audience. Is that okay?
Yeah, and I think if somebody wanted to, motioned it, allowing the potential purchaser to speak
Thank you.
as a member of the public, I think satisfied that.
Okay, great. All right, then 10 on our agenda, city manager report.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and Council. I have several things for you, but I'll keep it brief. Just wanted to reiterate the 2025 budget workshop, or fiscal year 2025 workshop, was held in the City Council chambers this past September 26th. The proposed budget can now be viewed on the city's website, where the public can submit comments through October 22nd, 2024. We sincerely invite community members to weigh in on the budget process. Number 2, the city hosted and interviewed 4 finalists for the library director position October 2nd and 3rd, 2024. After a long process, an offer was made and accepted for the position. Miss Elizabeth Beth Edson, currently residing in Kansas City, Missouri, is anticipated to fill the Cortez Library Director position on December 16th of this year. 3, I attended the 100th birthday celebration for Miss Betty Donahue on October 2nd at Vista Grande. Ms. Donahue was born in Omaha, Nebraska in 1924 and has been a resident of the city of Cortez since 1950. And honestly, it was my honor to attend this impressive event. Number 4, I'd like to report that the retaining wall on Sligo Street that was damaged by a motorist earlier this year is scheduled to be repaired at long last starting October 14th. And last but not least, as most of us know, an aviation accident occurred at the Cortez Municipal Airport on September 29th, which was a Sunday. The involved aircraft caught fire, burned on the runway, resulting in significant damage to not only the aircraft but the pavement. I'm very proud to report that the airport director, Jeremy Patton, addressed the problem immediately and was able to line up a contractor very quickly, and the repairs were made to the runway within 48 hours of the accident without any interruption to commercial airline service. A sincere thank you to Director Patton and the airport team for a job well done. That concludes my report this evening.
Great. Thank you, Drew. All right, we're going to move on to 11 on our agenda, City Council Committee Reports. 11A is the mayor's report on the workshop. So for those in the audience and our community, we got a presentation from CDOT. They did a study along South Broadway and the curve of basically 491 and Highway 160, and they're designating a school zone on that curve from 3rd Street to Elm? Was it Elm? Maple. So that school zone, the speed is going to be reduced from 30 miles an hour to 25. And then the speed outside of that is reduced as well. And signs are going to be going up by spring 2025. So that's really great news for that area of our community that's been dangerous for pedestrians and for students and for children. So. And then we got a presentation from our Public Works Department about water rates. This is our second discussion. and they gave us data for peak for 2023, sampling of data for single-family residents and commercial, looking at peak usage months and non-peak usage months. So we've requested more data to talk about potential tiered rate study or what rates that we need to implement for next year and how much money we need to kind of operate and maintain and upgrade our water infrastructure. All right, then we'll move on to 11B on the agenda, other board reports. We'll start with Councilmember Kefauver.
Madam Mayor, Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Advisory Board met on Thursday, October 3rd at 3 p.m. here in City Hall. We began with a rec center user group report. That group seems to be really taking off and has really great representation. Creighton shared a little bit about the 2025 budget with the group. We talked about the South Neighborhood Park, and we didn't really take the time because we spent quite a bit of time on the master plan and budget priorities in the previous months. But we did spend quite a bit of time talking about the balloon rendezvous and an evaluation of that, and on the proposal for a park ranger program within the city.
The Historic Preservation Board was scheduled to meet on October 2nd. That meeting was canceled and rescheduled until tomorrow, and so there's no report at this time.
I participated in the interviews for the new library director last week. We had 4 candidates. It was honestly a really difficult decision, but I think the candidate that we selected really rose to the top to be everyone's number one on the panel I was on. And I'm just very excited to welcome Beth to the city and make this a new home for her. And I think it's really exactly what she's looking for, and it will be a really good fit.
The Golf Advisory Committee met Friday, October 4th at 7 a.m. at the Conquistador Clubhouse. Items that were mentioned, we're getting close to the end of the golf season. This past weekend, they had an Oktoberfest golf tournament. The Friday night, they had a glow-in-the-dark golf tournament that was 9 holes, a fundraiser for the girls' golf team. And 2 more tournaments, a Home Builders Association this coming Saturday, and October 19th, a par 3. And that will be the end for the tournaments. The most exciting news that was brought up is the golf courses generated $541,516,000 so far. They've had 21,000 rounds of golf. Compared to last year, their revenue was $454,000. So 80,500 some odd dollar improvement from one year, which is pretty amazing. Their cost recovery's standing at 111%. They mentioned they have a new assistant superintendent, Brendan Chandler, on board. The last Sunday before Thanksgiving will be the last day of golf, weather permitting, and the tarps will be put on at that time. That's the end of my report, Madam Mayor.
All right, and then I attended the Arts Committee meeting last night. They participate in the review of applications for the 81321 grant, and that closed on October 1st, so they have a few applications in there that they help the Lohr Foundation look through and then recommend for awarding. They also have been reading through the Mancus Creative Arts District strategic plans to get ideas for potentially creating a creative arts district. That's kind of an ongoing project for the Arts Committee. They're also asking for if anyone has mural pictures. They want high-resolution, nice pictures of all of the murals in our community. We also wrote a congratulations card to Mr. Sanders, the theater teacher at the high school. They were awarded the Theater Teacher of the Year. And then they mentioned that the CREA has a 2025 marketing grant. And then they're looking forward to participating in the Parks and Rec Halloween activities coming up this month. And they're excited to reach out and collaborate with the new library director when she starts. So, all right. Moving on our agenda, other items of business. We have none tonight. We have a second public participation meeting or portion in our meeting. There's no limit to the number of speakers and no overall time limit. Seeing no public in the audience, we'll move to adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Madam Mayor, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Lewis and seconded by Dobry.
Dobry,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Randall, Spruill,
Yes.
Haven.
Aye.
Medina.
Aye. All right, thank you. Good night, everyone.